Greetings everyone, Wilnise here, and today I'll be sharing with you the Holistic Living School Plant of the Month. Happy August, blessed Sunday. I inspire that you guys are enjoying your weekend. For those who are just joining us, my name is Wilnise Francois, a nurse herbalist and contributor and teacher here at the Holistic Living School. Today I will be sharing with you our lovely plant ally of the month, what many of us know here in the subtropical region of Central Florida as being this vibrant, fast-growing, low-profile succulent that many of us in the diaspora enjoy and know as thyme, right? So our plant ally of the month is Cuban Oregano, or what many of us, another common name for it is broadleaf thyme, Indian borage, right? A lot of us in the diaspora uses this specific plant species or succulent that is a part of the Lamiaceae family or the mint family. And we revere this plant medicine for culinary uses. As you see here, I have this luscious bush of it right here in my backyard, just growing so lovely and wild and doing all the things. I wish my camera was, big enough so that I could really give you the broad view of how large and just expansive it is in the space. But its Latin name, for those who are not familiar with this beautiful ally, is Coleus ambinuus or Plectranthus ambinuus. That's also another common or botanical name that you'll often find when referencing this succulent or this mint family. As its name provides, its leaves are pretty broad, right, with jagged edges and extremely succulent and juicy, right? It's really thick and porous. It has really a rough texture whenever you feel the plant. And it's extremely aromatic, much like most of our plants in the Lamiaceae family, right? Or the mint family. In the diaspora, I am a descendant of Haiti. So in Haiti, we often use this plant for remedies and for foods, right? We like adding the leaves specifically to our savory dishes or the seasoning bases of what we know as épices, because of how expectorant it is to the body system. This is known as a thyme. It's not known as a common thyme, right, to the Western standard, but in the diaspora as well as the continent, we revere this as being a thyme. This particular plant is native to South Africa, right, and spaces of Western Africa on the continent. And you could also find areas in the diaspora like Jamaica, Grenada, Guyana, Haiti, where this plant is usually fast growing and sometimes found wild. Most of the time here in the subtropical region of Florida, I am stationed in Central Florida. You could often find this used in landscapes, grown in folks' backyards, or even grown indoors in potted plants, as a potted plant. It's extremely fast growing, propagates extremely easily. The nodes of the plant, once you stick it in water, it'll root in about a week, or in no time, honestly. And then stick it in the ground and you've got a bush this big in no time. I do have it where it's flowered earlier in the season and it did produce some seeds. So I do have some seeds to show you what they look like. Much like most of the Lamiaceae family, the flowers grow almost as a rosette, if you could see that, kind of along the stem, right? And these beautiful, almost lilac purple, almost lilac pink flowers, right? Beautiful, beautiful plant. It's used all around the globe for its medicinal properties as being really expectorant, cooling to the system. I don't mind being in this wild space of the backyard because it is also known to repel insects like mosquitoes. So this time of year, Central Florida, we're in the rainy season, and so the mosquitoes are almost out looking for hosts, right, to feed off of. This this is a beautiful plant I like to have in your space to kind of repel those bugs that like to get on our skin and create some inflammation and abrasions, right? One other thing that we often use this plant for is for that property as well, how beautiful it is at healing the wound. So we'll take a leaf and you'll see how juicy and just full of water and succulent the plant is, right? And we'll usually put it on and rub it on our skin to repel the insects, or if there's some type of wound, right, that needs assistance in healing. It's a beautiful plant ally because of its anti-inflammatory properties, it's antimicrobial, right? This plant is, again, lovely and aromatic. In IET, they often take the leaves and crush it, right, in the palm, and they'll take the juice, as if you could see this juice. I'm going to squeeze it so you can see it dripping. See that? That's just from that one leaf. Can you see that? It's extremely succulent and just an amazing ally. We often take this and make cough syrup, right? A handy cough syrup is usually made for children, or moms would take that juice and rub it on a babe, right? Rub the back of the babe for any congestion that might be in the throat, because it's also known to be extremely expectorant in the system, right? Cough syrups are often used or made of the leaf. They'll take the leaf, macerate it with some honey, and have it sit for a minimum of 2 to 4 weeks, right? To create a beautiful cough syrup, right, for those lovely months. Sometimes you'd also find where they'll easily make a poultice out of the leaf for bruises, abrasions, any bug bites that you might find or you catch while being out in your yard or in the wild. Again, it is extremely fast growing, roots extremely easily. So if you were to, this is what the root would look like if you were to ever see it grow to its stem. The roots are also used in Ayurvedic medicine for the same purposes of clearing congestion and cooling the system. So this is also extremely cooling to the system, as most in the Lamiaceae family, right? Or the mint family is what we also know it as. We love adding this to meat dishes, right? To season our foods. We make a thing called epis, or where it's a concoction of like our bell peppers, our onions, and all the wild plants made into a seasoning, how would you call that? A seasoning base that you would marinate your chickens and your meats and all the things. And adding Cuban oregano or broadleaf thyme, or another name as Indian borage, is a beautiful addition to creating some flavor and can overpower a dish. So usually 1 or 2 leaves is all you need in order to get both the medicinal properties as well as the flavor that you're looking for. It's extremely aromatic. It's reminiscent of like mint and lemons and oregano, hence the name Cuban oregano. It's another common name is also known as Mexican mint. It's used to create chutneys and salsas and all the things that we need to, I thought a question was coming in, to make our dishes yummy and lovely. But one of my favorite ways of adding this into my personal regimen or apothecary is with the skin, right? Has beautiful properties, and you see, as you can see how juicy it is. Macerating some of the leaves and adding it to your favorite mask. It's beautiful at reducing redness on the skin. Again, clearing up congestion, as well as sinus congestion, right? So making a quick poultice that we could apply on this region here would also be beautiful and beneficial. Cuban oregano is just a lovely, lovely, fast-growing. Loves the subtropical regions. It obviously likes it where it's nice and shady, so that's why I have it here. We're in the shaded spot. Too much sun will definitely dry out this plant. It does hold a lot of moisture, so somewhere shaded and where it could grab some moisture from other plants is also nice. So I have it near these trees. It has like reservoirs of water in its root system. But Cuban oregano or Plectranthus ambiguus, ambonuus, or Coleus ambonuus is the name. So there's a question. Can you make a tincture out of Cuban oregano? Totally. So in the diaspora, or in spaces like Grenada specifically, they like to take the leaves and dry them, right? So this, because it's such a plant that holds so much moisture, I'll crush another leaf just in case you weren't able to see that earlier. To see how much water is produced just in that one leaf, it does take some time to dry. But after it's dried, Then creating a tincture out of the dried material is what's best recommended, right? Because of just how much water content is in this, and you want your tincture to hold more shelf life. Using the dried material is what is best recommended, in my opinion. But of course, you can obviously take the fresh leaves and make a tincture with some Everclear, some good proof alcohol, totally vodka. That'd be lovely. Right? Cuban oregano, lovely, lovely, lovely plant ally to add to food. Bring it into your homes. I love having this plant in my kitchen, so having the pot herbs, and so this is one of the herbs that stays in my kitchen mini herb garden that I have, just to bring in that aromatic, lovely, moistening, cooling properties of Cuban oregano. It does have extremely, on the ethereal side, it is extremely cooling and clearing in the system, right? So it clears energy, cools the energy, has an affinity to our lovely planet Venus to some, just because of how juicy and how much moisture it holds in its plant system. Lovely plant, all parts to use, from the stems to the leaves, fast growing, all the things. I wonder if there are any other questions. Any other questions? It's a beautiful, lovely, lovely, lovely plant ally to include. And just to make it so that it's more fun, I'm just gonna make a quick little salsa for y'all. Oh, that's lovely. In full sun, and it's grown, and it's huge. Wow, I could only imagine. Yeah, this is extremely fast growing, so I recommend anyone who is growing it, make sure you have the space. But it does really well in a pot just the same. But again, this is a lovely addition to your salsas, and so I was going to chop up some tomatoes here, some avocado, and make a quick little salsa. That'd be really lovely for the summer, that you could enjoy in all the ways. And so I'm going to be adding obvious things that are in season now or approaching. We're almost leaving mango season, correct? Some red bell pepper here. And just chopping that up, adding some of the sweetness of this bell pepper to the minty, lemony flavor of Cuban oregano is really lovely. And you can have this during the summer to help cool the system, right? In a really lovely way. And so I love this plant just because of how abundant it is and very tolerant to most growing conditions, right? I consider myself somewhat of a lazy gardener. And so these are one of the plants that are one of the most forgiving and can be a little bit neglectful with, right? So I'm going to chop up just a little bit of this tomato here. I don't have a tomato knife, but just a touch of it. And this salsa you can have any time of the day, right? During your lunches, given to guests, all the things, right? You are most welcome. I wonder if there's any other questions as we move through. I'm going to add in some beautiful mangoes here. These are mango fraîche, mangoes that you could easily find here in Central Florida. You know, mango season, but we're just about that time of leaving mango season, so try to get as many mangoes in as possible before that time is up. I'm gonna cut up these mangoes, cube them in there real quick. What a neighbor was calling. But Cuban oregano is such a lovely plant because of just how succulent and abundant it is. In the diaspora and in Ayurvedic medicine is often used for the specific reasons of cooling the system down and as an expectorant, right? So if you have coughs or a lovely child that might be experiencing some cough in some way. So I wanted to cut up a little bit of red onion in there, right? To add more color, more expectorant properties. Red onion is, again, really lovely to the system, aiding in digestion. It's also known, Cuban oregano specifically, also known to aid in soothing the digestive tract And it's also known to be a carminative, right? So it helps to expel gas. So that's why it's also lovely when we add them to like our bean dishes, specifically in the diaspora, to help, you know, keep off some of those things that we get whenever we eat the beans. And so, like I said, 1 or 2 leaves is all you might need, just for flavor and lovely time. In other spaces, this is considered a mint. But here in the West, we know it as Cuba's oregano. Right? Cuba has a lovely bean dish that this is often used to, again, help to balance out some of the gaseous properties of what beans can cause in the body system. So its digestive properties or carminative properties are really lovely in aiding that. So just 2 leaves in there. A quick, lovely summer salad of tomatoes, onions, mango, and Cuban oregano to get all the sweet, tart, savory flavors you might enjoy. I also have some avocado here. I don't believe it's ready. Yeah, avocado from the tree isn't ready just yet. So, but there we have it. Cuban oregano, Plectranthus, ambiguous, broadleaf thyme, Indian borage. Beautiful plant ally for those of us in the subtropical regions. Lovely to add to your growing gardens, to flavor your dishes. A lovely ally for the skin in repelling any bugs or stings and helping to cool the system. A lovely carminative and digestive aid. Fast growing and abundant when it grows, but lovely, lovely ally nonetheless. If there's no more questions, I want to thank y'all for joining me. My name is Wilnise, and you guys have a lovely afternoon.